I recently had a conversation that has really got under my skin, has really got to me, and it was about this. So on this channel, I actually talk to people as well in real life, in coaching, trying to get people to understand that the best way to live your life is one that is moral and ethical, and also is based on health. So I promote the high sugar freedom lifestyle, which is subsequently vegan, or rather vegan and then subsequently the best most healthy way to live is high carbohydrate, low fat, low protein. Always will be. Okay, that always will be. So if you want to regain your health, okay, lose weight and regain your health, this is how you do it. Vegan, high carbohydrate or high sugar, low fat, low protein. But I found that in these conversations that I have with people, so online, yeah, it's usually I get all the same troll comments. But essentially what I try to get across in the real world is whatever you do with your life, you are going to die. It doesn't matter if you're 20, you get to 20 and you die, or you're vegan or not vegan, you are going to die. Okay, so this channel is a positive channel because I think veganism is a positive way to look at the world. So you realize in your mind, you start to stop fearing, okay? You stop fear ruling your life, and you stop, or at least you try and deal with the fear of death. So veganism is a positive way to look at the world because you go, well, I'm going to die and everyone else around me is going to die one day, regardless if I'm vegan or not. And for me, even if veganism was less healthy than not being vegan, now, because I understand, I understand how the world works in terms of my actions, everyone's actions have consequences. So all of these animals that are being bred into existence to be killed for pleasure, and then all I ever hear is justification. And then eventually, once I get through, so this conversation was all, you need your calcium from milk and you need your iron from flesh and blood. So I call essentially what most people eat the Homer Simpson vampire diet. So flesh and blood, or milk and bacon and eggs and steak. And yeah, I always get, well, you need, and I get a list of all of these things that supposedly you need from all these animal products. And then eventually it always comes to the same thing. I love my meat. I love my meat. So yes, the world is divided down 99% to 1. So in terms of when I'm talking to people and trying to coach people and saying, I can show you how to live essentially an ethical, moral, health-based lifestyle, 99% of people, they don't hear me, okay? So if you're watching this video, I'm sure, because most people are not vegan, most people are just doing the same thing. Only maybe 1% of people who see this video are going to hear me. And maybe if you're vegan, you have this same, you're switched on and you're more conscious than the people around you. So essentially that's what veganism is. You are aware of the consequences of your actions. You've maybe seen what happens. You can't kill about 90 billion now, land animals a year. And essentially we don't know how many fish we kill because it goes by weight count rather than actual individual fish count. But it's estimated at least 1 trillion fish a year. And that's just the fish that they estimate that is eaten. That doesn't take into account all the other animals that get swept up in those huge nets that they use. Because Everything is now industrialized. It's on a vast scale. And people never seem to see, it's a coincidence. Everything is either a coincidence or a conspiracy theory. So all I ever get is, well, I'm told that steak is really good, and eggs is really good, and milk is really good, and chicken thighs are really good. And it's never, well, chickens, for example, I always get, chicken meat is supposed to be the best, lean, amazing white meat or whatever. But people never put two and two together. The chickens are the most abused, the most abused animal on the face of this planet. So of that 90 billion, most are baby chickens. They get bred, they live maybe 5-6 weeks, and then they get killed. And that generates a huge industry. So yes, I have this particular conversation really got under my skin, because essentially the arguments against being vegan are so stupid. They're so stupid. And it just comes down to the same thing of, it's unbelievable. I mean, I would say if you were someone who isn't vegan and I was to record all of the stupid things that I hear as reasons that people give themselves in order to not be vegan, that would probably make you vegan if I recorded all of these stupid things. So the 99% of people who essentially are the 99%, this is how humans just seem to always be divided on things. So there's the crowd of people that are just doing everything the same. So essentially the reason why you're doing everything is because human beings are a herd animal. Okay, so we are a herd animal. So therefore, in the modern world, the god of popular opinion means that you will do what everyone else does without thinking. So when I was speaking to this person, all they kept saying was, well, I'm going to look up what you're talking about, and I'm going to look it up because I don't believe you. But then I always get the same strange back and forwards. So for example, I'd say, well, for example, the World Health Organization, there's a published list of all of the carcinogens now that we know, and meat is on there. And then all I get is, well, I can't find the World Health Organization website. I can't find it. So if you want to stop being stupid, getting fat and sick like everyone else, okay, so if you don't want to be fat, sick and stupid like everyone else, like and subscribe and find out what you eat as a vegan, okay, so you can still be fat and sick as a vegan and not, so you can be fat and sick as a vegan and destroy your own health but not abuse animals. But if you want to find out how you can stop abusing animals through being vegan and also not abuse your own health, then you can find out. I've got lots of videos showing that I'm always lean and healthy and full of energy. And no, I'm not diabetic. I'm not anemic. I don't have osteoporosis. But most people are not vegan. But most people are the ones who suffer from osteoporosis, heart disease, cancer, type 1, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, all of these comorbidities or chronic diseases. Vegans form a very small part of the population. So all I ever get as well is, oh, well, vegans, they're all pasty and pale and they're falling down and collapsing in the street. And it's like, most people say are living in a psychosis of violence, of a violent lifestyle. So everywhere you go, you see the modern world, or the standard modern world lifestyle is about violence. Okay, so the animal products, this industry is based on violence and oppression through speciesism. So I say to people, do you love cats and dogs? Yes, I love cats and dogs. But I say, but do you eat cats and dogs? And I always get, no, I don't eat cats and dogs. So you love cats and dogs, and then I say, do you love chickens and fish and cows and pigs and sheep? And I get, well, no, I don't. And then it just becomes seemingly another coincidence that the animals that you love, you don't eat. And the animals that you love, you don't eat. But the animals that you don't love, you do eat. So it's such a simple and stupid way to live, okay? So if you want to be essentially a slave to the modern world, and yeah, essentially you don't care, or you're a coward and you just want to do what everyone else does, essentially go over the top in the war. So the call to arms, call to violence, if you want to be like everyone else, you can. You can do what you want with your life, okay? You can be as violent and as ugly and disgusting and as horrible as you want with your life. No one is going to come and stop you, because most people are in it with you together, okay? So it's not a conspiracy. You know, most people I talk to have never been challenged about their behavior. They just behave day in, day out the same, because everyone is in it together. So the 99%, because they're all the 99%, are all in it together doing the same thing, and therefore don't challenge each other and try and raise each other's moral and ethical base up above the average, which essentially is the 99%, or so essentially the everyday common person. The moral and ethical base of most people is basically zero, okay? So if you say you do care, you care about animals and you care about other people, but you're not vegan, no, you don't care, okay? And yes, if you're not vegan, you are a bad person, okay? So if you want to not be vegan, therefore you pay for animal abuse, so you are an animal abuser, simple as that. And if you say you care about people and you have children, for example, you don't care about your children, because we know the number one cause of extinction on this planet, okay, is from animal agriculture. So yes, we are going through an extinction level event, and it's not being caused by vegans. So that's another thing I get told, is veganism is the driver of destruction, environmental destruction on this planet. That's funny. I always love that one. So I hope you enjoy the video, like and subscribe. You know, if you are vegan and you share the same feelings, you know, if you are the 99% and you're watching this, then I already know what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm an absolute nutcase, a conspiracy theorist, and a horrible person. So I always get told that I'm an idiot or a horrible person, because I'm trying to stop people from destroying their health, abusing animals, paying for them to be animals to be killed, and subsequently destroying the environment. So just think about it. If you're not vegan and you eat animal flesh, there's someone who spends all day, every day, cutting the heads off live animals. Just think about that. In the killing floor, in an abattoir, the animals are lined up all day, every day. They come shipped in on big lorries, all day, every day. Even during the pandemic in 2020 and 2021, meat was not off the menu, okay? And nor was fast food. Fast food was not off the menu. People cut the heads off animals all day, every day. And I suppose in the modern world, these people that abuse animals, cut the heads off animals, are heroes, because for most people, flesh and blood and animal products are good for your health, okay? So I base my foundation of health and the way I recommend to eat on looking at, well, most people in the West are suffering from heart disease and cancer, heart disease, diabetes, these are all on the rise. This is how most people will die. And therefore I look and say, well, That's caused by high fat, high protein, and all of the chemicals that are in animal products. So I say eat low on the food chain, and therefore you won't have the bioaccumulation of all of the toxins that animals eat during their life, and then you won't ingest them. And you can minimize the amount of chemicals that are going into your body. And if you reduce your fat, keep it down below 20, I recommend 10 grams, no more than 20 grams of fat a day, then you won't suffer from heart disease. And then you also will reduce the chance of getting cancers as well, because you won't be eating all these carcinogens. And also you want to keep protein low, for example, to protect your kidney function. So if you're eating high protein, you're going to damage your kidneys and eventually cause kidney failure. So it's not a conspiracy. If you're not vegan, yes, you are a bad person. And the reason why no one is telling you you're a bad person is because you're all in it together. And when I say you are, or most people who are watching this video are not vegan, you never get challenged by anyone else because they're not vegan. So they're never going, no one else is ever probably in your lifetime going to challenge you for your bad behavior. And I never tell people good things about their bad habits. So if you're paying for animals to be killed and murdered for your pleasure, I'm never going to say, well done, carry on. I'm going to say, here's the alternative. If you don't accept it, yes, you are a bad person. So yeah, I get people who tell me, oh, I do care about my children. I do care about my children. I love my children. But I love meat. And there's the answer. No, you don't care about your children. You just care about yourself. But yes, this is a positive channel about positivity. So veganism is about positivity. Veganism is the future. Well, it would be. I don't think there's enough time left, unfortunately. But in the time that we have left on this planet, we can reduce the amount of suffering. Okay? So veganism will reduce over time, gradually over time. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think the marketing industry of the food industry, the healthcare industry and the pharmaceutical industry, I think maybe something drastic would have to happen for it to switch from 99% to 1 to essentially the 1% and 99. But if you want to do your bit for reducing animal suffering, then like and subscribe. Join the movement of the future, which is veganism. Okay, vegan, high sugar, low fat, low protein lifestyle with the bike reduces the suffering on this planet. Okay, so I always say get a bike and make yourself suffer. Okay, up the hills instead of making animals suffer. And yeah, just stop being so stupid, I suppose, and think about how stupid it is to eat meat and eat other animals and only think about yourself. Because as I say, you're going to die one day, so you might as well leave a legacy behind that isn't just how many liters and rivers of blood could be formed from the animals that you killed in your lifetime. So, I always think all the time. I'm always thinking all the time. So I would say, just think more. It feels good as well. You get a good feeling from thinking, increasing your IQ, increasing your consciousness. It feels good. It's a rewarding feeling to realize that you are alive. Okay, you are alive and you have choice. So the choice, when you become vegan, you gain choice. Okay, whereas if you're not and you're just eating the same foods every day, I have to eat these. I have to eat meat. That's not freedom, is it? Saying, oh, I love meat and I have to have it. If you free yourself from the brainwashing and the conditioning of modern life, it becomes easier and simple, and you can free yourself from modern life, which is just trapping you in a cycle of disease, sickness, and death. Okay, so the modern life is not worth it, I don't think. Life is short, so make the most of it. And yeah, leave behind a legacy that I don't know, your children or your family or whoever it might be can look back and say, yes, thank you, mom, or thank you, dad, for not contributing to the rivers of blood. Okay, so get a bike, go vegan, get out into nature, and see the real world. Okay, and if you see a little bird, injured little bird on the road, stop and help it, and help nature and help the world and help other people by going vegan. I'm not dying. I'm not dying of veganism. Okay, I'm dying to get people vegan. That's what's killing me.